Hello there, my name is Kate Chauhan. I'm the founder of Act Global Research. So I spend a lot of my time talking to investors, chairs, CEOs. Because I do produce a lot of content, white papers, and educational insights as well. So businesses can have better forecasts around product propositions and operating models of the future. Because I speak to a number of business leaders, I tend to have a breadth of insight around the direction the businesses, their agenda is going. So I'm going to give you the sort of top 5 areas that I'm finding more and more that we're having conversations around. I'd love to hear it from you as well, to share what does that sound like and look like for you. Happy for you to be controversial or provocative around some of my comments as well. So number 1 is the digital agenda. I think we'll all agree that's been accelerated by about 2 to 3 years, whereby companies were pretty cautious. Now that the last few months, particularly during the lockdown, they've been on a mini crash course, which is basically all that's done is fast-tracked the agenda. Now that has implications both positive and negative. Positive for the business is it means that in some cases, they are now responding to what consumers have wanted for quite some time, which is more of a digital presence, maybe even the interface, the user experience. So we are starting to see businesses are trying to make an investment in being able to provide those solutions. On the negative side, what you tend to find is when the digital agenda comes into play, people have to get uncomfortable from what they were doing before because job roles start to change as well. So we are starting to see that there is a demand of new skills and capabilities. And because COVID has fast-tracked everything, it means that businesses aren't well prepared in terms of having a ready workforce as well. So that's some of the positives and negatives around that. And number 2 is around what we've seen is to some extent home working works. But the biggest challenge around that is logistically, it's a minefield to get your head around. So particularly around things like performance management and policies have been the main concerns around that area. I know a number of businesses are looking at things like tax laws because people are talking about remote working, not necessarily from their country of origin. For instance, people are asking if they can work internationally as opposed to being in the UK. And that will come with implications for the business, and how do you manage that as well on an ongoing basis. And thirdly, what we're starting to see is another conversation is around consumer demand. And so whereas some businesses have started to see consumer demand return, there are others that are seeing it return, but not to pre-COVID levels. And the conversation has been around when do you anticipate that growth to return. A lot of conversations that I'm having, businesses aren't forecasting even early 2021. I'd go as far as late as 2022 when people anticipate to get back to any sort of positive growth, which is meaningful. Another area that I'm having conversations is around M&A activity and valuations. What we're seeing at the moment is that it's quite slow, but we do anticipate a pickup to come in only from Q4, but also Q1 2021, because we'll start seeing the real cracks. What is apparent is when people come off the furlough, and obviously the governments are doing a lot in terms of quantitative easing at the moment, which is helping to keep the economy going. But it really depends on come October what that looks like. We're already starting to see operationally companies are starting to take off some of that fat and become a bit more lean. And I suspect in the weeks to come, we'll see more of that as well. The 5th one which is going back to my second point, I think it was, which was around convenience of working from home, is actually now that you've got remote working and people are working from home, we've seen a number of organisations declare that then their workers aren't going to return back until next year. And the question then to be had is around, do you really need them back into the workplace? So we'll start seeing changes in the use of commercial real estate. We've also seen the government recently announce that they are deregulating planning permission, which will make it easier to make conversions. I'm in deep conversations with a number of chairs and CEOs who've been in that ecosystem. We've been coming together to talk about what those changes might look like. We're likely to see a change of use around how that's being used from its current form. Those are some of the conversations that I'm here having, and love to hear from yourself is in terms of what are you seeing, what are the risks, what are the opportunities, and what sort of conversations you're having, and be good to bounce ideas. If you have any questions for me, then feel free to jot them down in the comment section and I'll try coming back to you. Otherwise, I hope you're well, and hopefully I'll see you at the next video. Speak soon. Bye bye.